How's it going, everybody? In this video, we are going to take a look at creating VLANs on Nexus. Now, it's pretty much the same thing as creating VLANs on iOS and stuff like that, but it's just the look and feel of it. So you'd be able to get a look as to how it looks, and so you'll be at least vaguely familiar with it. And at least if you're running Viral, you can test this out in Viral. So we're going to pull up our topology for this, and which is right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to configure, like we did in the VLAN video, we are going to go ahead and create VLAN 20 over here. Well, actually, we'll do, VLAN 20 on the, excuse me, sorry, VLAN 10 on this side and VLAN 20 on this side, because I got gig 01 and gig 02, respectively. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up the command line, which is right here, and I'm going to bring this down just a touch, and I'm going to click on Nexus 4. We're going to hit the enter key. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to log in, and we're going to be admin, and there we have it. So now we are at switch. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to global config. We're going to type in host name is going to be N7K4. We're going to say do or copy run start. Sorry, that'll save. And we should be in pretty good shape there. So now what we got to do is we got to look at gig 2/4. So we're going to type in show interface E 2/4. So right now, currently this port is down, and we have nothing going on at the moment because it is administratively down. If we do instead of doing this, we do a show run interface. You'll see that this is the running configuration. Now, no switch port, if you're not familiar with that command, that disables the layer 2 functionality on the switch port. So basically that means that this connection at E2/4 down to router 4 is acting like a routed interface. So it is possible to run this port, this connection between router 4 and N7K4 as a routed connection. So I'm actually going to go into interface E2/4 and type in switch port. I'm going to type in no shut. That's going to bring the port up. And then we're going to go and do a do show interface brief. And you'll see that we are VLAN 1, and currently we are, let's do a do show IP, or a show IP interface brief. Interface Ethernet E2/4. IP is disabled on that interface, which is good. So we want to come back down here and do a show VLAN brief. Right now, we are VLAN 1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create the VLAN. We're going to say VLAN, and we're going to say, in this case here, we're going to use 10. Okay, VLAN 10. We're going to do a set a name to be, we're going to say data, right? We're going to do that, and then show VLAN brief. There's our VLAN. We're going to type in interface E2/4. We're going to type in switch port access VLAN 20 or 10, and we are in good shape. So we type in show VLAN brief. There we go. So like I said, it's identical, almost verbatim to iOS, but just a slightly different syntax. So, well, it's a different look and feel. So, just to some degree. So, that gets us that port. And then we're going to do the same thing on N7K5. So, we're going to go ahead and log into this guy. And we're going to go global config. Host name is N7K5. We're going to do a copy run start. Let that go ahead and do its thing. It's ready to disk. And then we're going to go to interface E2/4. Type in switch port, and type in switch port access VLAN 20. We're going to do a no shut, and we're going to type in show VLAN brief. Now, as you can see, the VLAN was not created or placed. It was not created prior to, and if we do this again, you'll see that we have VLAN 1 is here. We type in show run interface E2/4. It's still it's a switch port, and no shutdown has been enabled. so we do a show interface brief, you'll see that that guy is down at the moment. So now let me ask you a question, and this is, you know, straight up. Why do you think it's down? Let's look at switch 4. Do a show interface brief. They're both done. Why or none? Why is it? Why do you think that? Why do you think it's not working? Well, you guys are smart. The reason why it's not working is because this interface is not, those interfaces aren't up and running yet. So we're going to go to global config, type in the host name of R4. We'll type in interface, or we're going to say VRF definition is going to be net 10, and the RD is going to be 10:10. Address family IPv4, and we're going to say that the route target is both 10:10. And we're going to say the same thing for net 20. And that will do us. So now we get to go to interface gig 0/1, type in IP address of 10.2.10.10, and this way here, we are going to do the /24 here. And no, or actually we're going to, see, I goofed up. I should have typed in VRF forwarding net 10. So I can just do that. And then we're going to go over to gig 0/, we're going to type in no shut. And we're going to type in interface gig 0/2. VRF forwarding is going to be net 20. And then the IP address is going to be here, but we're going to say 2020. And no shut. Do show IP interface brief. And there we go. So we won't be able to connect anything, but now if we go back over to the Nexus side, we do this, now you'll see that, let's see here, is it actually up now? Show interface status. (2/24) disabled, routed. Let's see here. I was looking at the wrong one. 2/4. Connected full. That's good. That means it's working. If I come over here to 5K, I do a show interface status. Come up here. I am inactive. Auto. Do a show run interface E2/4. Okay, that looks good. What about R4? So do show IP interface brief. That looks good. Let me do a, well, beyond that, there's really not a whole lot we can do. But from this perspective, everything looks pretty good. Show interface status. And so let's see, we are inactive. Does that say the same thing on this side? Connected. Okay. Let's see why we are having a problem here. Let's do a show run interface E2/4. Switch port access VLAN 10. Oh, you know what? I bet you on this side, if I do a show VLAN brief, that's because I don't have the VLAN created. I was like, why is that inactive? That would explain it. Come up here in VLAN 20. And we're going to say name is, we'll say, you know, data. It doesn't really make a difference. I mean, obviously you would want to make sure it's appropriately named. Otherwise, show VLAN brief. There it goes. Show interface status. And there we go. So that's a good sign. So now we're connected at 1 gigabit. And that's really how you would go about setting that stuff up. So you've seen it both on a regular iOS and on Nexus. Pretty straightforward for the most part. And we're going to go ahead and move into the next portion, which is talking about trunking. And we'll take a look at how trunking would work. So like for instance, if I was to type in, you know, if we were to, on this side, if we were to go to interface E2/1, so, well actually let's do it on switch N4 here. Interface E2/1 and do switch port, first of all, switch port ? Trunk. It's automatically going to try to form a .1Q trunk between the ports. So that's one thing you just have to be aware of as you're going forward. So beyond that, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to touch on in this video. We'll take a look at more in detail later on and go from there. I hope that this has been informative for you, and I would like to thank you for viewing.